existing requirement.
Question 3, Dr. Thomas SO. Thank you, President. There are views. Dr. SO, please clip the microphone to your lapel. Sorry. Thank you. There are views that the development of the Northern Metropolis involves various industry park companies. Several policy bureaus will also take part in the work. The smooth working of the collaboration mechanism will directly affect the pace and effectiveness of the NM's development. In this connection, will the government inform this council first whether the government will set up a mechanism for the division of labor and collaboration among the industry park companies so as to avoid unreasonable competition between them? Second, as the 3 working groups under the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis focus on different areas and are led by different secretaries and deputy secretaries of department, how will the relevant policy bureaus currently exchange views and coordinate with these working groups? For example, whether cross-departmental collaboration and regular meeting mechanisms have been established. If so, of the specific arrangements regarding the frequency of such meetings, the rank of the officials involved, and the decision-making authority. And third, in light of the need to enhance communication and collaboration between Hong Kong and the mainland on matters relating to the NM, the Task Force for Collaboration on the Northern Metropolis Development Strategy, led by the Deputy Financial Secretary and the Vice Mayor of Shenzhen Municipal People's Government, has convened 8 meetings of the current status of the collaboration between Guangdong and Hong Kong regarding the development of the NM, as well as the latest outcomes of the consultations. Secretary for Development. President, the Northern Metropolis is Hong Kong's major new strategic development space for the future. In addition to boosting housing supply, the NM will also provide substantial land for industry development. The planning and development of land are coordinated by the Development Bureau, while policy bureaus responsible for innovation, technology, education, healthcare, and other sectors promote industry development. As the NM development enters the stage of bringing in industries, the chief executive decided to raise the decision-making level for the NM development. At the end of September last year, the Committee on Development of the Northern Metropolis, chaired by the chief executive, was established to provide high-level leadership and coordination among the policy bureaus involved in the NM development. 3 working groups, each led by a secretary or deputy secretary, were set up under the CDNM. The Northern Metropolis Coordination Office under the Development Bureau continues to drive the NM forward following the strategies and objectives determined at the government's highest level, coordinating and aligning the work of different bureaus and departments throughout the process, while also serving as the key channel for external liaison. In respect of Dr. So's question, having consulted relevant policy bureaus, I give my reply as follows. First, the establishment of industry park companies to develop and run the NM industry sites enables better integration of market forces and the adoption of the public-private partnership approach, thereby expediting the industry development in the NM. Each industry park has its own positioning, focusing on complementary strengths, combining efforts to build diverse and vibrant industry clusters. The division of work and collaboration among the park companies were thoroughly discussed at the working group on devising development and operation models chaired by the Financial Secretary. The budget this year also announced $10 billion for each of the 3 companies responsible for the industry land in Hongshouqiu, the Hong Kong Park of the Hedao Shenzhen Hong Kong Science and Technology Innovation Cooperation Zone, and Shanting Technopool. This shows the government's commitment and leadership in mobilizing market resources to expedite the development of the relevant industry sites. On the Hongshouqiu Industry Park, the government aims to leverage the well-developed transport network of the area and its locational advantage of being close to Qianhai and Shenzhen, so as to promote high-value-added and smart production industries, such as pharmaceuticals, food processing, and advanced construction, etc. The range of industries to be introduced can be highly diverse. The Hetao Hong Kong Park is positioned as a world-class hub for technological innovation, focusing on upstream and midstream levels such as research and development, outcome transformation, and pilot production. As for the Sentient Technopole, it is the natural extension of the Hetao Hong Kong Park. It will provide space for prototyping, pilot production, and mass production to support commercialization of R&D outcomes. Together, the two areas will create synergy across upstream, midstream, and downstream levels, creating a complete I&T ecosystem. The second part, the CDNM is chaired by the Chief Executive. It comprises relevant secretaries, permanent secretaries, and the head of the Chief Executive's policy unit. This is to ensure high-level oversight and policy coordination. To date, the CDNM has convened 3 meetings, providing strategic guidance on several major NM policies, such as the dedicated legislation for the NM and the development blueprint for the university town, and overseeing the work of its 3 working groups. The Working Group on Planning and Construction of the University Town, chaired by the Chief Secretary for Administration, comprising relevant secretaries and head of the Chief Executive's Policy Unit, etc. To date, the Working Group has convened 2 meetings to discuss the overall development strategy for the NM University Town. They also conduct research. Earlier, the Working Group visited several cities in the mainland and overseas. The Working Group on Devising Development and Operation Model, chaired by the Financial Secretary, comprises the Deputy Financial Secretary, relevant secretaries, permanent secretaries, and the head of the CEPU, etc. To date, that Working Group has convened 3 meetings to examine a number of NM-related projects, including the proposals to establish the HK Industry Park Company and Sentient Technopole Company Limited, the tendering model for the HK pilot area, and the further development of the Hetao Hong Kong Park. Finally, the Working Group on Planning and Development, chaired by the Deputy Financial Secretary, comprises several relevant secretaries, permanent secretaries, and heads of departments, and the head of the CEPU. That Working Group has convened 2 meetings to date. In addition to steering the drafting of the dedicated NM legislation, the Working Group has also established 4 dedicated project supervision offices, which are responsible for expediting the approvals of private projects in the NM, public housing projects, railways, and major road projects, as well as public works projects. Part 3. The Task Force for Collaboration on the Northern Metropolis Development Strategy was established in February 2023 under the Guangdong-Hong Kong and Hong Kong-Shenzhen Cooperation Mechanism. The task force is jointly led by the Vice Mayor of Shenzhen Municipal People's Government and the Deputy Financial Secretary of the HKSAR government, with the involvement of the key officials from both sides. To date, the task force has convened 8 meetings to enhance dialogue and partnership between Hong Kong and the mainland on NM-related matters, covering areas such as planning, alignment, industry collaboration, cross-boundary transport infrastructure, environmental protection, and I&T cooperation. Thank you, President. Dr. So. I thank the Secretary for the reply. I have read the reply. Here's my concern. It's about the efficiency of the execution. For the NM, the focus is an industry-driven approach. We need industry development, education, and we have to integrate everything with people's lives. Each policy bureau has its own purview. The Housing Bureau is in charge of building flats. The IITIB is in charge of the industry parks. The TLB works on transport, and the development works on the planning and the early stages of infrastructure. The reply mentions the CDNM and the 3 working groups under the committee. These bodies involve very senior officials. They work on policy coordination and high-level steer. They discuss development strategies, research, tendering models. They examine projects, and then they give the green light. My concern is that when it comes to implementation, in the reply it says, under the Development Bureau, there's the NMCO. This office takes forward all the work. It coordinates across different policy bureaus and departments. That's part of the work of that office. The NMCO is an office under the Development Bureau. My question is, when it comes to the implementation mechanism, can we set up a mechanism that will provide oversight across the board? In core development areas, can we set up a cross-departmental pilot mechanism? Now, for public and private housing, business, and industry parks, can we have a unified management framework? Can we have the CDNM directly delegate powers to this mechanism? Can we have an official providing one-stop steer to make sure that all the support facilities and policies can be implemented? That we can learn from the local management committees found in the mainland. Secretary. In my main reply, I mentioned the NMCO. The office urges different policy bureaus to implement the strategies laid down by the CDNM. The members' concern is whether the office has the authority to get the ball rolling. The power of the NMCO comes from the CDNM led by the chief executive. The NMCO has the authority delegated by the CDNM to get other bureaus to do their work. To give you an example, when we do the planning, we have to plan different industry sites and plan the land use. So some areas will be for industry, other areas will be for the unit town. During the deliberations, we gather the input from different policy bureaus, and then we let the CDNM make the decision, and then we get a picture of the land use in different parts of the NM. Here is where the NMCO comes in. The NMCO will give different bureaus, such as the ITIB and the ATB, a sense of when the land will be on stream so that the bureaus can take forward the work on bringing in the industries. We don't have a local management committee, but the NMCO is performing this function. Dr. Simon Lee. Will the government explore leveraging the existing mechanism to set up a pilot in the NM? Can we team up with other GBA mainland cities on pilots or studies on collaborative legislation to speed up the NM development? And then we can cover the hard, soft, and in-depth connectivity between Hong Kong and the rest of the GBA. President, some months ago, we briefed LegCo on a piece of dedicated legislation for the NM. We proposed directions and specific proposals. We have gone through consultations, and those consultations have proceeded smoothly. We have garnered enormous support. Next week, we will submit a concrete proposal along with a bill to LegCo. Part of the proposal involves collaboration between Guangdong and us, and that includes the flow of people, data, goods between the mainland and Hong Kong. Our draft bill will empower the chief executive in council to make subsidiary legislation when appropriate to achieve these purposes. For that, we will have to secure the consent of not just the Guangdong authorities, but also the central government. Once we have the green light, and then we can proceed with the subsidiary legislation. Mr. Augustine Wong. The different industry park companies in the NM are under different policy bureaus. Each has its own focus. The timetable also varies from one park to the next. Can we do something to have different parks complement each other? We don't want to turn people away, but we also want to avoid competition or a scramble for people in the early days. Secretary. There are three, or rather there will be three industry parks. For Hongshouqiu, it can accommodate diverse industries. For the Hetao Park and the Sentin Technopole, the focus will be on INT. Members may wonder, when we say diverse industries, even for those for Hongshouqiu, there will be some sort of INT players in Hongshouqiu. Any talk of advanced industries will involve cutting-edge technology. For frontier high-end technology and tech-driven players, those players will go to the Sentin Technopole and the Hetao Park. We have been in dialogue with the ITIB. We're clear on the positioning. If there is a high-end tech player specializing in R&D, we refer them to the ITIB. If a business has approached the ITIB, but that business specializes in food processing, even if they have smart production, even if they have leverage technology, they are referred to the Hongshouqiu Industry Park instead. We're clear on the need for collaboration. We don't want to turn people away. We try to bring in players. If a business is in INT, but they want to be here right away, but the Sentin Technopole does not have formed land yet, and the land is only on stream in Hongshouqiu, then we can talk. We can put that business in Hongshouqiu first. We can talk about that. We will consider the business's needs and see how we can meet those expectations. Thank you. Ms. Elizabeth Guat. Thank you. We want to bring in cutting-edge tech firms to the Northern Metropolis. So my question is whether we will pursue smart city initiatives in the NM, and this includes the low-altitude economy and telecom infrastructure. In urban areas, different telecom providers have their own base stations. They don't share the base stations. In the mainland, base stations are shared by different telcos. That leads to greater efficiency and also uniform standards. For the NM's smart city infrastructure, can we have this kind of collaborative approach? Please keep your questions and answers brief. Secretary. For each industry park, each will have to adopt technology. So there will be some elements of smart city initiatives. When we look at the NM as a whole, in new development areas, there are plans associated with smart city features. We have to go deeper in the future. The focus now is on land and getting the work started. Once we move past that, we get into the works, we move on to the detailed design, and this will involve different features of a smart city. The member mentioned a low-altitude economy. We have to set aside the space, and that will require in-depth planning with the relevant policy bureaus. We will have that conversation. We will come up with a detailed plan. Mr. Andrew Lam. I followed the main reply and the exchange just then. When the different industry parks are in place, there will have to be an effort to attract businesses and investment. Once the three industry parks are up and running, Will the first point of contact for businesses remain the NMCO? Will the three industry park companies coordinate among themselves, or will this also involve the NMCO or other government departments? Now, when there's a party for each of the industry parks, each will be tasked with reaching out to enterprises. But businesses also want to find out about the NM, specifically about the different industry parks. So we have several contact points proceeding in parallel. We do not specify a single point of contact. That is because we don't want prospective businesses to be referred to different parties. That is poor customer service. So there's a party responsible for each industry park and the relevant policy bureaus. Invest Hong Kong also plays a role. Oasis also has a part to play. And then you also have to factor in the NMCO. These four sides compare notes all the time. A company may have approached Invest Hong Kong, and then Invest Hong Kong gets in touch with the NMCO. They work together, they sit down with that business for a meeting. So it depends on the background of the prospective business. We get several parties involved, and this happens all the time. Thank you. Ms. Grace Chan. I understand that we haven't focused enough on social services in the NM. So can we take this co-planning approach? For every new site, can we allow space for social services? Can we build in the flexibility? Can we adopt a pilot? Can we get users involved in selecting sites and designing the function so that the entire plan can meet actual needs? Secretary. The member mentioned social welfare facilities. There are 2 points we can consider. Starting from the end of this year, huge public housing projects will be completed. A certain portion of the floor area of such projects will have to be set aside for welfare facilities. Behind the scenes, relevant departments are doing the work in line with the mechanism. They have to do the planning, they have to alert their other departments, and they have to raise the issue with the Housing Bureau. In the NM, we have set aside substantial land for government, institutional, and community sites. We have a basis to go on. So some sites will be for a gallery, others are for schools and social welfare facilities. We can be flexible with this basis as we go along with the planning. We can work with the Labor and Welfare Bureau and the Social Welfare Department. We let them know that certain sites will be ready after formation, so they should start planning. They should think about what facilities they want to put there. So we have been in dialogue and we will cover that.
Question